Greetings to all of humanity. It's really a joy. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be out in nature bringing this message of joy to you, this message of peace, love, and contentment, pointing you to look within and to believe in the creative power that is within you. For I declare unto you that God is life and life is God, and that you can't separate God from life and life from God. Thus the reason why I want to speak to you concerning the tree of knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. So I'm in Genesis, and Genesis spelled Genesis, genes is, showing you everything has a beginning. And even as I speak to you to express my thought. So a word is a thought expressed. So everything have to first be a thought. Everything have to first be imagined. So everything have to first be mental. Now everything that you read in the Bible, it had to be first a thought. It had to be first mental. Now there are those who say that holy men wrote as they were inspired. But what is inspiration? Inspiration is you receiving inner communication from an intelligence that is within you, and then it comes through the form of thought, and you express the thought. Whether you express it by spoken words like how I'm speaking or in written words, still force a thought. That's the reason why everything in the Bible, it was for psychological. So someone might disagree with me when I say that the Bible addresses the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically. That the Bible is not literal, neither is it secular history. Yet they will not be able to tell me one thing that was done in the Bible that wasn't for psychological. And also when they speak, it is being forced mental or psychological. Or even if they ignore me, it has to first be a thought. Anything they say or do, it has to first be a thought, because no action could take place and it wasn't first a thought. So, my brother and my sisters, the first thing I want you to understand is that the Garden of Eden is speaking of your mind. And the two trees that is planted in the garden in your mind is teaching you about your right brain and your left brain, or the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere of the brain, and how it affects your thinking. Therefore, my brother and my sisters, whenever you have a mentality of right and wrong, you will always be in a place whereby you'll be expressing a life that believes in religion and separation. So basically, religion is teaching you that we are all separated and we are all different individuals, and that we are not one, and that we are not connected, and that some are wicked and some are good, some are righteous and some are unrighteous. And when you get that kind of mentality and believe it and develop a belief system, and the law of belief is rooted in your mentality, you're gonna believe those things with all your heart and even dream of those things that have been taught to you, because you're actually eating or partaking of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That's the reason why, my brothers and my sisters, There's so much separation in the world. And every religion is divided among themselves. And the masses are eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. But my brother and my sisters, when you eat of the tree of life, is when you come into true awakening and understand what is self-realization. And when you come to self-discovery, you will come to understand the law of oneness. You will come to realize that everything is energy, vibration, and frequency. You will come to understand that the only race is the human race. You will come to realize that there is only one universal consciousness. You will come to realize that we are all God, but you can be God asleep or God awake. Which is to say, you can be God in amnesia, or you can be God who have wakened out of your amnesia. Thus the reason why when each and every one of us born into this world, when we were say 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, even up to 1 year old, you didn't even know that you existed. And as you grow older, then you start to come to certain understanding and you realize that you did exist. Then you realize there's certain time in your life when you were existing, but you didn't know because you can't even remember. So many are still suffering from their amnesia because they haven't wakened out of the dream. And in Psalm 78, I think, yeah, and verse 65, tell you, and the Lord awake as out of a great sleep, as one being given to wine. There comes a time when you would awake, and when you been awakened, then you would realize what it means to eat from the tree of life and to come to know your eternal self, to discover your eternal self, not by intellect, but by experience. For there is certain knowledge that cannot be known intellectually, it must be experienced. So when it says that the tree is guarded by a sword, or is guarded by angel, that man will not put forth his hand and eat from it. You can partake of the tree of life without having the experience of discovering your higher self, your true self, your Christ self, your energy body. It's an experience, and it's an inner experience. That's the reason why, my brother and my sisters, hadn't it been that I would have awakened within myself and ascended like a fiery being, having heard the unearthly wind, and having experienced a great earthquake within myself, and having that supernatural eye being open within me, and burst my crown chakra, and came out in another form, and became invisible, and became one with the wind. Hadn't it been for that experience, I would not have discovered that I am a spirit having a human experience, and that I am God in flesh, and that I would have suffered from amnesia, that state of forgetfulness. But now I have awakened. My remembrance start coming back more and more I start to get more in touch in my higher self and use my creativity and use my creative power to create my reality more consciously. So my brother and my sisters, religion and belief in right and wrong and speaking judgment and condemnation and speaking of separation is eaten from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Because all the trees are planted within our minds. Everything is within. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and 11, I think, tells you that everything is downloaded in you. That God placed the world in the mind of man. Eternity is in the mind of man. Therefore, my brother and my sisters, when you learn to think more positively and look inwardly, and you discover your divinity, then you will discover what it means to eat of that tree. The tree of life, the tree of oneness, the tree of togetherness, the tree of that divine connection where everything unites, where everyone must align back to nature, where we all must live in peace, unity, where we all must live and discover our higher self. So my brother and my sisters, it is really a joy and a pleasure for me to bring this message across to you, knowing that I'm eating from the tree of life. And I have no condemnation to cast on anyone. For each and every one of us must go through our experience in this life until we wake out of the dream and discover who we are. For the universal question of life is, who am I? And when the answer comes, it must be I am. I am that I am. I am whatever I believe myself to be, for as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So my brother and my sisters, the divine in me salutes the divine in you. And my encouragement is for you to keep looking inwardly so you will be able to discover your divinity and eat once more from the tree of life and get rid of the tree of knowledge of good and evil that brings separation and condemnation, which equals religion. So with that being said, my brother and my sisters, I want to thank you very much. And if what I'm saying, if it resonates with you and you are not a subscriber, I'm encouraging you to please subscribe and to like, comment. And if this message have helped you in any way, I'm encouraging you to share it with friends and relatives, as much people as possible. Now, everything I've just said to you, it is because I always bring this message of the single eye, which I refer to as the single eye message of self-realization to you, of which Matthew 6:22 says, if your eye be single, your whole body be full of light. And because of my experience of bossing my crown chakra, I always put my hand on my crown chakra and showing the sign of the single eye, letting you know that when you have the experience, you come to realize that it is the rising of the sun in a son, and that it is the dawning of a new day in your life, and that the sun parallels the human imagination, and the human imagination parallels the sun. For without the sun, there is no life and there is no light. And without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. Therefore, my brother and my sister, I'm encouraging you, having known that the sun is what powers all of humanity, I encourage you to use your mind power to achieve your every desire, so that you will be able also to discover your true identity, which is your divinity, and eat from the tree of life. So with that being said, I want to say peace, love you all. I'm out.